Let's construct a probability distribution of a discrete random variable. Suppose 3 coins are tossed. Let x be the random variable representing the number of heads that would occur. So the first thing that we need to do here is for us to be able to list down the possible outcomes. So let's start with the first coin. We have here heads and tails, heads and tails. For the second coin, still heads and tails. This still let's extend this. Just heads and tails, and also heads and tails here. For the third coin is same. This is heads and tails. Also another heads and tails here. Same goes with here. This is also heads and tails. Also heads and tails. Now we can already list down the possible outcomes. Possible outcomes. So let's have here, this is H, heads, heads, and heads. So we have H, H, and H. Second outcome is H, heads, heads, and tails. So we have here H, H, T. Next is we have heads, then tails, and heads. So this is heads, tails, heads. Next is we have 8 heads, tails, and tails. So this is H, T, and T. Next is we have T, H, tails, heads, and heads. So this is T, H, H. Next is tails, heads, and tails. So this is T, H, T. Next is we have tails, then tails and heads. So this is T, T, and H. And finally, we have tails, tails, and tails. So this is T, T, and T. Next step is for us to list down or to write the values of the random variable x. Variable x. So this is going to be for the first outcome, the corresponding value of the first outcome for a random variable x represent number of heads that would occur is 3 because there are 3 heads. Next, second outcome is 2. Third outcome is 2. Fourth outcome is 1. Fifth outcome is 2. Sixth outcome is 1. Seventh outcome is 1. And the 8th outcome is 0. So the total of the possible outcomes for this probability experiment is 8. So this is 8 outcomes. So later on we are going to need this once we determine its probability. So let me just resize this so that we can proceed with the probability distribution. Alright, so this is going to be here. There you go. And here, let's try to simplify the values of the our random variable x. So we have so here values of the random variable x. Variable x is we have, let me just it here, random variable x. So we have here 3, 2, 1, and 0. So now we need to check probability for random variable x. So how many times did we see 3 in the among the outcomes? So we have here 1. So this is going to be 1 over 8. For 2, we have 1, 2, and 3. So this is 3/8 or 3 over 8. It's 3 over 8. Then for 1, 1, 2, and 3. So this is also 3/8. And finally, we have 0. So it's 1/8 or 1 over 8. So that's how we construct the probability distribution for this probability experiment. Now let's proceed to constructing its histogram. Just resize this again. Okay. Okay, this is just so constructing the histogram. Just need to same as like making x and y coordinate. We have here in our y-axis representing the probability. Just so probability, and we have here our random variable x. Which is number of heads. Then let's list down the values. We have here 0. We shall not start in the origin here, like the intersection between our x and y axis, because the 0 has a corresponding probability. So this is 0, 1, 2. Just extend this. Okay, so and 3. For the probability, allow me to just move this here. Oh, so and there. And the probability, we can start with 1 over 8, 2 over 8, and so on. So let's, here this is 1/8. Then we go with 2/8. Then we go with 3/8, 4 over 8, 5 over 8, and so on. Okay, anyway, the highest here is, the probability is just 3 over 8. So we can already start constructing our histogram here. So for 0, corresponding probability is 1 over 8. So this here, we have this, just change. Okay, we have it here until somewhere here. Okay, then you just shade the probability. We have the next is 1 over 8. So 3 over 8 is here. 3/8. Just 3/8. So, okay. Then next is 2/8 or 2 over 8, same. And 3 over 8 is, no. For 2 is 3 over 8. For 3 is 1 over 8. Just change this. Move it to right a little. Let's try, and so here. Okay, and we have 1 over 8. So okay, all right. So that's it. That's our histogram for this probability experiment. Thank you so much.